what I need is 3 or 4 people who would be willing to come out and join me here in the arena. You might wonder what these are for. These are for the 4 horses. Thank you! There's a doorway, preferably for people that are not in active chronic back pain. Yet. Come on down. Well, I think that's perfect. I think that's for... You might not want your drink though. You might. What's in there? I'll look after it. So, pick a mat each and stand at the far end of each mat. Thank you. That's it, because we'll bring you in towards the steps. I say ride. We'll bring you in towards the middle. Oh, she's coming. Fantastic. Okay, so obviously if your horses, you need to be on all fours, right? So assume the position of horse. Thank you, you're very kind. Okay, so what I want you to do... One of those ones. Yeah. Been to parties like this before. So what I need you to do is to imagine you're a horse, and you're a horse that maybe wasn't born with core strength, okay? That maybe wasn't one of those fortunate horses that was, and maybe is owned by somebody who might not know how to organise the shape of the horse's back and improve their core strength and their spinal alignment. And so what that means is that you're going to have kind of quite slack tummy muscles, okay? So your tummy muscles are just going to let the contents of your guts and goo hang down towards the red mat. Okay, and that will make your back sort of saggy. Yeah. And then if you kind of imagine that your owner had come along and placed a saddle on your back and you kind of feel the weight of the saddle. And then all I want you to do is to just crawl a couple of steps up the mat. Lovely. Okay. And then just make a mental note of what that was like and then rein yourselves back to the beginning of the mat again. That's it. They're very obedient, aren't they? And then what you're going to do is, I want you to imagine now that you're a cat and that a child had come and picked you up by the ribcage, so their fingers came around your ribs and that lifts your ribcage up. And as you lift your ribcage, you engage your abdominals, so you take the belly button towards your spine and your back really lifts up and you feel like a stretch between your shoulders. That's right. And maybe just before I ask you to crawl here, just allow your back to hollow again, so let your tummy muscles go slack, let your back go hollow. And just notice, and maybe you guys should notice too, as they engage their abdominals again and lift their back up, feeling the stretch between their shoulder blades, so do that again. What happens to the horse's head? It's a miracle. The back goes up, the head goes down. Okay. And now crawl a couple of steps with your abdominals engaged, the stretch between your shoulder blades, and just notice how that was different from the first time. Then rein back again. We've got one more thing before I let you become humans again. Let your abdominals go slack again. Okay, imagine you're a sort of not terribly well-schooled horse, yeah? A little bit kind of weak through the core, yeah? And, but maybe I'm a bit sick of all this kind of head in the air stuff, so I've got to invest in a pair of draw reins, or maybe I've decided that I need to increase the tension on the rein, you know, a bit of backward traction to put your chin in. So put your chin in towards your chest, and just try and pull a couple of steps like that. Okay. Alright, so that's fine. So now you can come back to being people, and maybe just join me here, and you can stand, that's fine. I like it when they're there, that's good. And just tell me, what was it like? Come here. Maybe face these guys. What was it like being a hollow horse? What was it like to crawl as a hollow horse?
Sorry? It's uncomfortable. Shuffling and shuffling. Maybe let's shout. You can hear them, can't you? They're nice loud horses. Uncomfortable, shuffly. Anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, really tight.
You felt tight?
You can actually move.
Yeah. No, so it's more difficult for your hindquarters to come under because you were more shuffly.
Yeah.
Okay. What about the difference when you went from hollow to round? How was that different?
You could just step out more.
Your
Right.
legs come under more, didn't they?
Okay. So you felt like your front legs could step more, you felt more like your hind legs could step more?
Once you pulled up, you can actually move.
That's right.
There's
Absolutely. That's right, your head came down. Yes, so those are things to notice. What was it like when you had the backward traction, the chin towards the chest? How did that feel? You felt like you couldn't breathe, you couldn't see where you were going. You felt like you had. Yeah. Interesting. Well, thank you very much. That was perfect. Thank you. So interesting observations from, if you like, the horse's point of view, how different ways that the horse using its body will affect its ability to use the forearm, use the hind quarter, how they felt in their, the positioning of their heads, and how they felt through their neck. That they felt shuffly, or that they felt more able to step out in front or underneath themselves. And so you might say, well, you know, that isn't news to me. Yeah, I know that the horse should lift its back, engage its abdominals, reach into the rein and come onto the bit to be impulsive. You know, you're not telling me anything I don't know here. So what we're going to look at is how we affect that change in the horse. And one of the things that is of great interest to me is just how similar, anatomically, horses and humans are. Skeletally and muscularly, whilst we hope the horses are lying horizontally, right? And the human vertically. There are a lot of similarities.